Selling the City Season 1 is heating up a little more. The girlies are fighting over a listing with a certain celebrity, and one of the ladies is trying to get a loan from the CEO. Let's talk about it. I am worried about Taylor. I really like her, but girl got me concerned. What a time in your life to start to be on a reality show when it seems like everything around you is falling apart and now it's going to be broadcasted. I am rooting for her, but why in the hell would you go to your boss's boss to ask for a loan? Especially when you work in real estate and you are making huge chunks of money at once. I mean, they make like 20K plus commissions at one time. So long as they're selling houses, obviously, but they making big chunks of money at once. Her husband is also employed. She did say that she was the breadwinner of the family, but he's not making zero bread. Like, he's bringing in something. Like, she's not broke. Now, she might be taking care of a bunch of other people. Maybe she's taking care of other family members. Maybe she does have a lot of expenses. But I'm just like, if I had a job where I would get lump sums of money at once, like 20, 30, 40K at once, then so long as you're not living outside your means, you should be sitting pretty nicely, because most people barely make that in a year. Like, you cannot be afraid to pull up to that real estate office in a Toyota. Don't be afraid to pull up to these showings in a Honda. Like, if you can't afford the big luxury cars yet, then don't have it. They haven't quite gone into full depth of the whole loan situation, but it's hard for me to fathom, as someone who doesn't have a job that pays me huge chunks of money at once, to understand how you would not have any money when you also have a 2-income household. Like, I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. Maybe I don't have rich people expenses, but I'm just not seeing how you blow through that. Even if you paying rent, even if you got I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how she ran out of money, or how she needed money so desperately that she had to go above her boss's boss, and literally go to like the CEO or the chairman of the company. That's crazy to me. Because it's not only a bad look on her, it's a bad look on everybody involved, Eleonora included. If somebody who works under you is going above you to get a loan, what does that say about what you're doing to help them make money? Or, like, even if it's not your fault, it's going to look bad on you. Especially after Eleonora just sat there and poured her heart out and said, look, I want to be there for you. I want to help y'all if y'all need help while you're getting on your feet in the real estate industry.
Was put all of that time, money, energy into the four of you. To do it in a way where you're not worried, where you don't have to think about money or eating or how you're gonna get home, because you'll always have me taking you back in an Uber or dropping you off or telling you to bring your clients out and covering the meals.
Maybe I have too much pride, but I'm really sitting here thinking, and I can't think of one, not a single situation where I would go to my boss's boss for money. I would go to my boss before I go to my boss's boss. Like, jumping the hierarchy is kind of crazy. But maybe that doesn't make me better, that I'm too prideful to do that. But you ain't had a friend or a family member or an advanced payday loan, or nobody you could have contacted before going to them? I don't know. Maybe it's different. They always talk about the real estate industry being like a family. Oh, we work so close. We're making so much money together. So maybe she felt like she was going to her cousin or something to borrow money. I don't know. Hey y'all, it's Nae. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. This video will contain spoilers for Selling the City Season 1, Episodes 4 through 6. So if you haven't seen them yet and you do not want spoilers, save this video and come back after you do. You are about to hear my thoughts on Episodes 4 through 6, but of course I want to hear yours. So feel free to drop your thoughts below if you do want to participate in the conversation. And give this video a like before you go, so I know you enjoyed it. I did say in my last video that this show could potentially make Taylor's marital issues worse. Because, of course, when everything is being filmed, it's going to put pressure on you and your partner, especially if you already got issues. And then Netflix had the gall and the audacity to put Abi and her husband basically in a side-by-side next to Taylor and her husband. And we're just jumping back and forth basically to both of the two couples going on this kind of date. And the juxtaposition between Abi and her man and Taylor and her man is actually insane. Because on one hand, we have a super happy married couple, and on the other hand, we got some people who don't need to be on a reality show right now. Abi and her husband are going to Italy. Meanwhile, Taylor can't even get her man to want to go on a staycation with her. And then she's over here telling her husband, like, let's try for a baby again. Excuse me? A baby with who? I was like, girl, a baby is going to do nothing but make all y'all problems 20 times more amplified. But at least she did acknowledge that. I don't think she needs to be worried about having a baby when she doesn't even know if she sees a future with this man.
I know it doesn't fix the marriage at all. I am not naive to that. I've heard that kids with marriage, it brings out the best in your marriage and it brings out the absolute worst in your marriage. So,
do you see a world where you and Peter stay together?
I don't know.
I don't know if she should be trying to have a baby with her husband when she doesn't even know if she sees a future with him. That being said, I do understand where she's coming from. She's been with him for, what did she say, something like 8 or so years or something? So she's always seen herself being with him. So of course, naturally, if she's like, I want to have a baby, I can see why she's like, why wouldn't I do it with him? But they just not in that place right now. I hope she thinks long and hard about that. And I hope he tells her no. To be quite frank, both of them should be stepping in and being like, this is not a good idea. But you know, Netflix is our petty queen and I'm here for it. They know that one of the major issues in Taylor's marriage is that she's married to her career instead of being married to her husband. And they chose to keep in this scene where she's literally on a date with him and she's answering work text messages like, oh, I gotta close this deal.
What's going on at work?
I just came from a new client.
Second offer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so let me call Devin. Am I allowed to make a call?
The deal couldn't have waited 20 minutes while you have a nice lunch with your man. Like, I'm just like, girl, where are your priorities? I understand that the real estate industry is cutthroat. I've seen several people say that while watching Selling the OC, Selling Sunset, Selling the City. They all say it's cutthroat. You have to work hard. I get it. But you have to have a balance if you're going to try to have a relationship while also having a career in the real estate industry. We know that Chelsea in Selling Sunset spoke on it all the time. Her man made plenty of money. He literally was sustaining her lifestyle. She did not need to work. He wanted her to quit, but she had that drive in her. She wants to be independent. She wants to be able to make her own money, all of that. And so that was something that caused a lot of disagreements in her marriage because her husband didn't like that she was married to her job.
One thing that has really broken my marriage more than anything is my choice of career that my partner doesn't support very vocally.
Oh my gosh, I wish you could spend more time with the family. Do you have to do this? And I don't have to work and I don't need to work hard and I don't need the money and I hustle just for fun.
I know that that's a very real thing. I don't think that that's like, you know, oh, her husband is like just being too needy. But at the same time, you got to be able to find that balance or you're going to end up with issues like this. And then you're on a show that's about real estate. So now, not only are you living and breathing real estate 24/7, now your second job is a show about real estate. So when do you ever stop being about real estate? So I get where her husband is coming from. And then Eleonora put all her business on blast in front of the whole office.
Taylor, I genuinely see that you are overwhelmed. I am not blind to that. I know that there is a lot going on. Marriage issues or family things.
Taylor has a lot going on. And more than being like, ooh, drama, I'm actually really sad for her because I think she really wants to figure some stuff out. And I just hope that she does. And I just don't think that this show, like, if this show was already on season 3 or 4, I would understand. I'd be like, oh, she's dedicated to the show. She's literally a main reoccurring person on the show. It would make sense. But I think that because this is the first season, I'm kind of like, girl, maybe you should have backed out of this contract or like not signed up for this, like, because you can be in the office and not be on the show. We've seen it plenty of times with Selling the OC. So I just hope everything works out for her. I really do genuinely feel bad for her. On to Jordyn. I think we all know that Jordyn has some connections more than just selling real estate. She actually knows people in Hollywood. She dated Trevor Noah. It's very clear that she has the pull and the ability to get close to celebrities. She ends up approaching Michael B. Jordan about this penthouse that he kind of backed out of buying, because they're trying to resell it to him, basically. And Gisselle feels a way about her making the sale with Michael B. because Gisselle used to have a situationship with Michael B. Jordan.
This client is someone who I had a situationship with 7 years ago, but we're still in touch and we're still good friends and we have spoken about real estate.
But I mean, if that's the case, why didn't you just hit him up to get the deal first? I don't think that Jordyn owes her the sale, owes her the commission or anything like that just because they both happen to know Michael B. Jordan. It's not as if Jordyn, the real estate agent, only knows Michael B. through Gisselle. It's not like she introduced him. She knows him independently, so I'm not really seeing why Gisselle was feeling the type of way. If she felt like she had the better relationship with Michael B., then why didn't she call him up? She's like, oh, I got his real number. Okay. Why didn't you call him up and say, hey, I heard you wanted to buy this and like it fell through. Can I get you interested in it again?
Like you are making this like it's a personal thing. I'm not trying to fight with you over who knows this person better.
The only reason why is the person.
If you had that much pull with Michael B, then you should have hit up Michael B and been like, let's make this deal. But I am happy that we're finally seeing a little bit more from Gisselle. She's trying to sell this very expensive, very exclusive $40 million condo that's comes with a private park. A park which I am currently obsessed with because of its exclusivity.
Rules for having a key to Gramercy Park is that you have to live along the perimeter of the park. You could literally be one building over or a half a block away, and it just doesn't count.
If that don't make you feel exclusive and like a bad bitch, I don't know what will. I guess if you don't like parks, it wouldn't really mean that much to you, but if you like parks, you would love it. On the other hand, we have Jordyn trying to little girl Abi, or at least that's what Abi thought until Elenora explained to her that the reason her name wasn't going in any of the articles for this property listing is because Elenora didn't want her name on any of the articles for this property listing.
The decision to not have you in the initial press was mine. So that's not on Jordyn. I just felt more comfortable with me and Jordyn giving the actual interview because the team is so prime for people saying, we're green, we're not ready.
Which I do see Eleanor's reasoning, you know, Abi is new or green, like to call it. But I do understand why Abi is upset. This whole concept of being green in the real estate industry seems to be a very big deal. We've seen people talk about it on Selling the OC. Oh, they're green. They don't know much. They have plenty to learn. They can't close, you know, $20 million deals. Like, they're not ready yet. So it is, I would think, just from watching them talk about people being green, that it's a very big deal that someone has basically the street cred in the real estate industry in order to be able to touch or put their names on these big deals. Basically, they want people to put in they time before they can get the credit. Abi says she's been at it for 4 years. Maybe she needs to make it to 5. Maybe when she hit 5 years, they will give her the credit she needs. On a side, y'all, I want to just briefly mention this hoodie like set because I got the pants on too. Not the feet. Listen, this is not only toes. That's crazy. So this is from a brand called Comfort. COMFRT. This is not by any means sponsored, but they should sponsor me because I literally love these and I wear them around the house, even in the summertime because AC be running. I always wear these around the house because they're so cozy. They're actually slightly weighted, so they're really good for if you have anxiety, which I've talked about before in plenty of videos. I have an anxiety disorder. I'm like 99.99999% of the time I'm anxious about something or another. Literally just existing in life, I am anxious. So I think I really like wearing these because they do make me feel like just a little bit calm. They're not super weighted, but I don't know, they're just so comfy and I love them. So I just want to shout out, if you're a person who likes to wear hoodies like in the house like I do, check out Comfort. They're super comfortable and I love them. I have 2 sets and I'm obsessed. Like if I could live in this all the time, I would. Speaking of fashion, this is exactly the fashion choices I'm talking about the girls on the Selling franchise make. Before they get that budget, they be dressing a little questionable. I'm not a fashion icon, obviously. I like to wear hoodies. But why is Abi walking around in these leather or pleather pants that she can't really walk in? Girl, you look uncomfortable. You can be sexy and cute and still be able to walk. Comfort. And then we have Abi's arch nemesis, Jade. Now, Jade is trying to sell this $15 million Mandarin Oriental property condo. And I'm just obsessed with this property because of all the amenities that it has. I think we talked about it in the last video. The Mandarin Oriental is apparently like a hotel business. And so they're known for hotels, but they also have apartments. And so when they have apartments, you get all the great stuff that you would get with the hotel. Room service, they can bring you stuff, they'll clean, you know, like, I'm obsessed with the Mandarin Oriental. Like, $50 million is insane. What's even more insane is that the person who Jade is trying to sell this $15 million condo to is a 16-year-old who's getting ready to go to college. I beg. What do you mean? Granted, her parents are, of course, buying her this condo, but imagine you getting ready to go off to college and your parents are like, oh, honey, we're going to buy you a $15 million penthouse to study in. Girl, I studied in Starbucks with, like, unhoused people yelling at me like that. Like the wealthy really are living a completely different life. I can't even, if I had, 15 million is not even a number that I can even, like, comprehend in my mind. How does one spend that much money and still have money left over? Because that's just the house. Like, that's just a penthouse. Like, girl, get the absolute fuck out my face. That really did piss me off. And I'm happy for her. Like, you know, I love a Nepo baby. Some Nepo babies. Some of them I don't like. But I do genuinely think if you got it like that, the point is that you give it to your children. I think where a lot of people start not to like nepotism is because some people's kids don't deserve it. Some people are raising spoiled brats. And that's where it's like, okay, if you're going to if you got the money, you got the money. Like, you're not going to make your child be poor. But at least raise them to have some damn, you know, respect for people, or like don't be trying to set your kid up to be in stuff that they don't really need to be in. Like if your kid can't act, why are they being put in roles that they can't do? If your kid can't sing, why are they being given singing roles? I think that's where people have a problem with nepotism. When it comes on like a very basic, like, of course, if you have money, you're going to spend it on your kid. I think that's what you're supposed to do. Imagine your parents are wealthy and they make you live a poor life. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? In this batch of episodes, we also got a little bit more on the backstory of Eleonora, which I absolutely love. Like I said, I love Eleonora. I think she is a boss-ass bitch. I love her attitude. I love what she's doing for the girlies. And so when she explained her story more, it was like, oh, I loved you, and now I get it. Now I get you. I think I understand her and can relate to her more because, as I've said several times, I tend to relate more with people who have had kind of like a troubled past, because that's just my experience, that I can relate more to people who I feel like they've been through some shit. And hearing how her boss was riding around in a Rolls Royce while she was sleeping on the floor blew my mind.
I have a blanket at my house that the fucking cat sleeps on, that I still keep because it is the fucking blanket I slept on for 6 months because I didn't have a fucking mattress on the floor. I was sitting with a boss who had a Rolls Royce and a driver and everything, and he gave me nothing. I would walk home in the fucking cold and hope that I had enough money to get something to eat.
I'm not saying that she should have expected her boss to purchase her a Rolls Royce or anything like that. But if you are being a good boss, especially, like I said, especially in the real estate agency where they are very close-knit, they're making a shit ton of money together, everything is very hands-on, I don't see how you could be pulling up in a Rolls Royce and not know that the people directly under you, not even somebody like 3 levels under you, directly under you, are going home and sleeping on the floor. Like, you should be checking in and making sure your people are good. You know exactly how much money they're making because they only make commission, and you know if they're selling houses or not. You know if you're giving them listings or not. So, yeah, I was like, how could your boss, as like a decent human being, pull up in a double R and you got to go home and sleep on the floor? Like, I don't know, if I ever was somebody's boss and I had it like that, even if I didn't have it like that, like just being a decent human being, you should know like what's going on with your people. And granted, maybe they won't tell you all the time, but I just think that's such a drastic change, and like it's such a huge difference. You're pulling up in a Rolls Royce, she's sleeping on the floor. Like, that's, I don't know. I found that to be very odd. And so that is why she has kind of that tough love for the girls who are in her office, because she's like, look, I know that this industry is cutthroat. I know you're going to have to work hard, but I'm here for you if you need me. And that's kind of why she felt a way about Taylor not coming directly to her and being like, I need help, or I'm going through something. She already knew you was having issues. So like, why didn't you just, I don't know. I felt like Eleonora is kind of building that relationship where you should be able to go to her. So it's sad that Taylor didn't feel comfortable enough going to her. Like she said, maybe she was embarrassed, but it's equally, if not more embarrassing for you to go to the chairman of the company and ask him for money. Eleonora has a lot going on, and she feels like she constantly has to prove herself because she's a woman. And I think any woman watching can understand that. Because even if you get through that glass ceiling, people are going to be like, well, how did you do that? Did you sleep with someone to get to the top? Is your daddy wealthy? Like, how did you do it? When it's like, no, I worked my ass off and that's how I got it. So I get exactly where she's coming from. I love Eleonora. I have a feeling she's going to be someone that a lot of people don't like for some reason, but I like her a lot. So we have one more, well, I'm saying batch because I'm releasing my videos in batches, but they released them all at once. So maybe some of you have already watched it all. We have one more, episodes 7 and 8. I'm going to upload my commentary on that tomorrow. I'm, of course, looking forward to hearing y'all thoughts on this and then those final 2 episodes. And then tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about what we think the overall season was, if we think it's going to get a season 2, and all of that kind of stuff. Until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye! I haven't watched 7 and 8. I usually try to watch as I go so I don't like say something that's ahead. All that you've done, all that you've done. Well, you dropped it. Come on now, we just started. Don't you get me when I get down crazy. Not the battery dying, child. I didn't switch it out before. That was my fault. We usually switch it before I start recording. Don't worry, we always keep that thing on me. Keep that thing on me. Ooh, not this. Maybe I shouldn't keep it on me that much. Now where the light went? Oh. Now where the battery went? That's the real question. I got it. I'm gonna be right back. Onyx, you won't dance with me. I ain't really fucking with it. For selling the CDC. It's too many C's. Got the CDC over here. Real estate agent. Why do I keep saying real estate agency? Damn, this battery dying too. Let me hurry up.